this is a webinar, this is definitely not going to be something where either Lauren or myself are going to be talking at you. This is very much going to be a collaborative session, so much so, in fact, that we started the collaboration early. So you probably received an email from me letting you know how to get to the Padlet a couple days ago so that you had an opportunity to kind of think over the categories that are represented on our repository. And so that you would have an opportunity to share if there were some favorites that you wanted to make sure all of the North Carolina coaches had access to. So again, I have placed the link for today's session in the chat. I'll pop it in here again. There you go. And I am going to go ahead and share my screen. We'll go through a couple of preliminary things, and then we are going to start collaborating around coaching resources. So I am super excited that you are here today. So here we go. All right, it's kind of funny when I see the word repository now, I'm going to giggle because I know many of you know Stacy Lovedahl, one of our regional consultants, and she just randomly texted me earlier today. I don't think even knowing that we have this session going today. And she was like, why do I keep seeing the word repository? I see the word repository everywhere today. And I was like, we're doing a webinar that has the word repository in it. So it's going to be seen again. So welcome to Building a Coaching Repository. This is our final in our coaching webinar series for this year. And so we really wanted to make it a session where you would be leaving with lots of things to fill your bucket and to fill your toolbox with between now and when we pick up again with coaching opportunities at the start of next school year. So our goal is to collaborate to craft a valuable treasury of top coaching resources tailored by and for professionals who are eager to refine their practices. You will see that we're trying to collect resources, yes, that speak to us as coaches, but we also wanted to collect resources that would be great for you to share with teachers and also resources that you could share with teachers that they could use with their students. So there's kind of three layers of resources that we're hoping to curate through our work together. So here are the topics that are included. Books, blogs, podcasts, curated resources, digital tools, AI prompts and uses, newsletters or potty PD examples, influencers who coaches should follow on social media, organizational tools, and gadgets that coaches need. Now, I do see Brian Whitson is with us today, and so I am really hoping in the gadget section of our Padlet, he will share his little cleaning set that he has for his devices. We all kind of hope that we get to sit near Brian when we're at events together so that we can snag his cleaning kit because it works really, really nicely. And we can all use a cleaning kit for our devices. So maybe he'll put that in there as a gadget that we need. All right, so we did create a Padlet as our collaboration board. This was an easy way, especially with the expanded Padlet options. So you can really attach just about anything you may want to attach. And so that made it a really good collection tool. You can see the QR code on this slide to join. You can click on this image to join. So there's lots of options. And then I also put the link in the email that was shared as well. So we're going to go ahead and we are going to pop into the Padlet. Here we go. I was getting nervous. Everything was blank. So you'll see that there has been some pre-work done. And a lot of that pre-work is Lauren and I, because we wanted to make sure that it was stacked with some good stuff. And then we very much appreciate the folks who have continued to add resources to this. We hope that you will add resources as we're going through the session today. And also feel free to add resources afterwards. So we really want this to be something that we can grow and that you can really refer to on those days when you're like, you know what, I've got like an hour where I can do some activities that are going to help me grow as a professional. What should I look at? What should I listen to? Let me go to that coaching repository and click on one of those pieces that's been recommended by my peers in North Carolina so that I can try and learn and grow from that. So we have all of the categories spread out across. And so I'm going to start by giving choice. Is there a particular category that you would very much like to start with? If we don't have a particular category, I did make a spinner with all of the categories to kind of randomize it. But for the good of the group, if you'd like to unmute or put in the chat, is there a particular area that you would like us to start talking about today?
Hey, Jen, can you hear me?
I can hear you, Lauren.
Okay, if I get a vote, I'd love to start with podcasts, but that's just me.
Jen, I think you're muted.
Sure am. Lauren, would you like podcasts for coaches or podcasts for students first?
Let's do for coaches first, since we're all coaches here.
All right, awesome. Well, I see Estella Johnson kicked us off with the Bright Morning podcast. If you're not familiar with that phrase, bright morning, just know that anything that's attached to bright morning is from the one and only Elena Aguilar. We are both super, super fan girls of Elena's work. And so the Bright Morning podcast is a way to listen to her ideas. Adrian Parker shared schooling around. And if you are on this webinar and you hear one of these resources and you either contributed it or this is something that you use, please unmute and pop in so that we can learn from actual users of these resources so we know what to really look for within them. Okay, Caitlin shared instructional coaching with Miss B. And then someone named Lauren shared the cult of pedagogy.
Yes, so Cult of Pedagogy, I started out reading her blog, which I know somebody else put in there. But she is amazing. She has really great ideas, and it was actually her name is Jennifer Gonzalez, that I learned about hexagonal thinking, which is like one of my all-time favorite instructional strategies, like to use with coaches or to use with teachers or students.
Okay, Lauren, I think we lost you, or at least I lost you.
Well, can you hear me now?
There's Lauren.
Okay, I am driving through the deep country of the Southeast, so I'm not going to try to talk anymore because you probably won't hear me and I'll mess up the recording. but I did share a lot of stuff. So if anybody has anything to say about it, go for it, because they're all pretty popular resources, I think.
Perfect. Thank you. I'm
Jen, you're muted again.
so sorry. So for me, I'm the one that added the Cult of Pedagogy blog, which is one that I love. And so what I really like about Jennifer Gonzalez and her work is I couldn't figure out what category to put it in. Like, did I want to put her work for teachers? Did I want to put her work for coaches? Because she is a fantastic resource and she's very accessible. Like if you have a beginning teacher that needs some strategies, please share some of her strategies and share these resources with them. It's not something where you've really got to be a veteran teacher with lots and lots of prior knowledge to be able to access her ideas. And they cover a wide range of topics, which I also really, really like. So yes, Cult of Pedagogy podcast, Cult of Pedagogy blog, I would highly, highly recommend them. I also like how Lauren has called out an ISTE resource. Remember, within North Carolina, you have a free ISTE membership that you can access through your NC Ed Cloud. And so one of the options that you have is a podcast from ISTE. So especially if you're a digital teaching and learning coach, that is a fantastic resource for you. Another favorite of mine is Katie Novak. Katie does a lot of work with Universal Design for Learning. And so a lot of her work is going to be around accessibility, using digital tools for accessibility, what does scaffolding look like? And so those I find to be super, super helpful so that I can meet the diverse needs of learners. And I see that we have someone typing, so I'm just going to take a look and see, but please feel free to unmute. As we look at the podcasts that we have for teachers, Educational Duct Tape is one that Lauren has recommended. That is not one that I've listened to, but I love the sound of it. Let's see, Teachers Talk Radio.
The guy is really funny.
I can imagine so. You picked a great title. So I would imagine he's got a great sense of humor. Teachers Talk Radio. Teachers Need Teachers. Absolutely. The Broken Copier. I love the title of that one as well. Yes. So I see there's a question in the chat about that ISTE membership. Yes. That is something that is very important to our team. And Dr. Ashley McBride has worked really hard to secure those for us. So yes, every teacher in North Carolina has a free subscription to ISTE. And the way you access that is through your NC Ed Cloud account. You can go in and claim your subscription, and then you've got access to their professional development. They have blogs, they have topic guides. So that is a fantastic resource. And if you have any difficulty accessing that, Kitty, just reach out and let me know, and I'm more than happy to help you with that. We are very, very lucky to have a resource like that at our fingertips in North Carolina. Spark Creativity is another teacher podcast. Hey, Brian.
Hey, sorry, I'm driving to Mount Airy, but I wanted to add with ISTE, you also have ASCD, the Association for Supervision and Curriculum Development, as a dual member. So I know that's been a new merger of the organizations, but that would be something I routinely use as an instructional coach because it's very rooted in solid curriculum focus. And I'll add that when I get to my stopping point. But you have dual membership in both.
Great point. Thank you, Brian. Yeah, ASCD has been pivotal for me for many, many years. And so I was super excited when they joined together with ISTE as a joint organization. And so since we already have our North Carolina memberships with ISTE, we were able to then access the ASCD resources as well. Ditch That Textbook. Matt Miller is a favorite. He also has a great sense of humor. He has a lot of practical ideas, again, very, very accessible. That's what I like about so many of these that have been recommended. You can listen to something and take it and be able to apply it really well, really easily, which is definitely always important for me. And so you'll probably see some Ditch That Textbook resources in other areas as well, like blogs or books. In fact, if I scroll just a little bit over, I can see that Lauren added the blog Ditch That Textbook as well. Just a fantastic resource. If you ever are at a conference and Matt Miller is at it, and he does go to a lot of them, he's a great person just to chat with. You can very quickly get in a conversation with him, ask him questions about something, ask him to elaborate, take embarrassing selfies, all that kind of stuff. Just a really accessible educator. The Shake Up Learning Show. What If World Stories for Kids. Oh, I'm not familiar about that. Great for teachers when teachers have a moment they need to fill. Oh, that sounds really cool. Brains On Science Podcast. Wow in the World. So I love how that she's added some podcasts that teachers can use directly with students as well. And I see a question about how we access the coaching repository. Thank you so much for sharing that link with her. That is the link to the Padlet where all these goodies live. Would anyone else like to unmute and talk a little bit about some podcasts that they enjoy? Could be for coaching, could be for teaching, could be for students.
I'll add that I don't really have one, but I have spent a lot of time listening to ones that I found on my own and found out they were no good. So this is a great, great resource to have, so I don't have to, go through all the bad ones to find the good ones. So I appreciate this.
That's right. That's awesome, Paige. Thanks for sharing that. No more wasted time. We're all about efficiency. I'm going to pick another category, and that's just because I want to highlight some of these. If you have been around for a couple years with various coaching initiatives that we've had in North Carolina, many of these titles may be familiar to you. But if you are newer to our coaching family, then these are definitely some that you're going to want to refer to regularly in your work. So we've got student-centered coaching, the moves. Get Better Faster. I know the PSU that I worked for a really long time, they use Get Better Faster as a guide for their beginning teachers. And so folks who are coaching those beginning teachers do deep studies with Get Better Faster. And one of the things I like about it is it actually has basically a scope and sequence for how you learn how to teach. And so it takes two different areas and it breaks it down into like, this is the first skill you need to make sure teachers have. Once they master this, this is the next skill that they need to have. And so it really takes teaching and breaks it up into these tiny little skills, almost like micro credentials for any of you working on that, into these tiny, tiny skills that we can help our teachers get better at this skill and then get better at the next skill so that they are really developing in a manageable sequence. So highly recommend Get Better Faster. That is Get Better Faster by Paul Bambrick Santoyo. And just know there's a whole bunch of other stuff. Like there's videos that go along, which are fantastic. You can hire them to do all sorts of stuff for you as well. But even if you just have access to the text, There's a lot of really good stuff available to you there. Onward. So Lauren and I, as I already mentioned, we're big fangirls of Elena Aguilar. And I know, Lauren, you will hear her quote from Onward frequently. This is all about cultivating emotional resilience. Really, really fantastic text. We are currently hosting a book study right now in Canvas with Arise. And so you'll actually see some more information on that book study if you want to hop in with us. But this has been the text that we've largely been focusing on this past year. It's her newer one, and she says this one has kind of replaced The Art of Coaching. But I kind of like both texts still, but this one is pretty phenomenal. Don't be intimidated by it. You don't have to sit down and read it cover to cover right away because it is a little bit thicker. Really good resource. The Speed of Trust. So fantastic author. I will say that this is not one that I have read yet, so I know that I need to go out and get it for my shelf now. Brian? It looks like Brian might want to add.
Yeah, yes, go ahead. In terms of books, one that I use, and I'm also going to add this under podcast, is almost any of the books by John Spencer, which delve into creativity, and a lot of that is from a coaching perspective. So I'm going to add that, but I would encourage any of those if you're looking to really move into design thinking, maker spaces, or have students do a lot by doing and get some really good pointers. Any of those would be phenomenal. And he has several books, and I'll make sure I'll list them there in the Padlet in just a little bit.
Thank you, Brian. He is another one of my absolute favorites. So I've just put his name in the chat. And then Brian said that he will go ahead and add some resources by John Spencer a little bit later. Thank you so much. Did someone else want to share? Okay, and then you'll see some others that we have worked with if you've been part of our coaching collaboratives. Last year, we spent a good amount of time on the PD book. If you are someone that does any type of professional learning experiences where you're designing them and facilitating from others, I highly, highly, highly recommend that you read the PD book. And then that goes really nicely with another book that's not specifically made for education, but it pairs so nicely with the PD book. And that is The Art of Gathering. And it just has that idea of when you're bringing people together, there should really be some intentionality behind your planning. What is that space going to look like? How are you going to welcome them in? How are you going to make sure you stay true to whatever the purpose of that gathering is supposed to be? And so it really guides you nicely in professional development. Now, I know people have their feelings about Crucial Conversations. So this is an oldie. It's been around for a while. I think it's in the 3rd edition right now. Some people love Crucial Conversations. Some people can't stand Crucial Conversations. I am a lover of not actually having crucial conversations. I am a lover of the book because they are so difficult for me to have. And so that's one of the first pieces that I took on as a coach. And there are just some guiding questions in there that have really helped me over the years when I've had to engage in those conversations that I would really prefer to avoid. So I wanted to put that in there for you as well. I also like in the book category that we put some books in here that deal more with content. So there's quite a few books in here for teachers who are going to be teaching mathematics, which I love. And then we have EduProtocols, and I am super excited about that because I do not have that book, and that is one that I clearly need on my shelf because I love EduProtocols. The Anxious Generation. Has anybody read that? like raise your hand or do a thumbs up or something if you have read The Anxious Generation or listened to it. I listened to it. Okay, this is a fascinating for me listening. Um, it really makes you think. And so I'm a mom. I have two older kids now. They're really not kids, they're adults, but I'll still call them kids because it makes me sound younger. But it really made me consider some of the decisions that I've made as a parent. It's made me consider decisions that I've made as a teacher. It has made me consider recommendations that I make in the position that I'm currently in. And so it really is something to make you think. It just raises a lot of questions. It provides some research, some data. And so it's, especially as we're engaging in conversations around cell phones and screen time and pieces like this just gives some really interesting information and data that's been collected over the years. Visible learning. If you are a fan of John Hattie's studies, where you're looking at highly effective instructional practices, this is a great one for you to have to be able to refer to be able to really look in and see which of those practices you should really, really perfect, because research has shown what a powerful positive impact they have on student achievement, and maybe which ones need to go by the wayside a little bit because research really isn't supporting how they advance student learning. Like, I don't know, like maybe homework, just saying. Ah, all right. So we've covered some podcasts, we've covered some books. Is there another category that we would like to take a look at? I'd love to hear someone else talk about a contribution they've made or a favorite that they have. Okay, I'm going to hop way over to the end just so that you can see if you keep scrolling, you will eventually reach the end. But let's look at some organizational tools. And this is one that Lauren contributed, or no, I'm not sure who contributed. So maybe the contributor is on and can elaborate for us here. But some tools for student-centered coaching, which sounds fantastic. And this may seem silly, but when we're talking about organization, the color of pens matters. I am not the person that can use sticky notes like Lauren. I don't have that skill set, but I can use different colored pens with the best of them. And so if you need a recommendation for colored pens to help you with your organization, these Papermate InkJoy gels are some of my absolute favorites. Does anybody else have some absolute favorite tools for the trade that they would like to share? I've also shared, it seems like just about everybody on our team has one of these EmpSign laptop backpacks, and I have absolutely loved mine. So I linked that on there as well as a great organizational tool. Anyone else have a resource that they absolutely cannot live without?
So, can you hear me?
Yes. Or perhaps I should say I could.
Yeah, we're gonna. Oh, I'm going out. Notebooks are super cheap and super pretty at TJ Maxx and Marshalls. FYI.
Oh, good to know.
I love a notebook. I have a notebook beside me when I'm working. and they're really pretty, and they're like $5.
Yeah, I love a notebook too, but one of the things I really love is chart paper. When I have like something that I'm trying to develop a professional development plan around, chart paper really helps me organize my thoughts.
I love that page. I hadn't really used chart paper for planning professional development before, and then I read the book Presentation Zen this past year,
Ah,
and it really had me kind of storyboard what my ideas were,
mm,
and that was really, really helpful. So I've done it a couple times since then. So thank you for
okay.
mentioning that. That's a great tip.
Yeah.
All right. Any other resources that anyone wants to draw attention to? I know quite a few people out there have some amazing newsletters and potty PDs that they share with their folks. We would love if you could just share an example there so that we can kind of look through and be like, oh, I really like how they did this, and I like how they've laid that out. Those would be really, really helpful. As I travel around in different PSUs and in different school buildings, I see these things posted, so I know you're making them, but we would love to have you share so that we can kind of perfect them and just look at each other's and see what we can really learn from each other. What types of things are your teachers wanting to learn? What types of things are you sharing? How are you organizing the information? How are you chunking things? So that would be really helpful for us as well. Of course, we are looking very much right now at some generative AI prompts that we can use either in our work as coaches, in our work as teachers, or as we're starting to introduce generative AI to students, what are some really effective uses and prompts for those? So even if it's not, an official like website or already curated resource. If you have just developed some, please share with us. Hey, this is, and I need to do this because I have some specific prompts that I use when I'm starting to plan a professional development session. And so I'll pop those in there as well in case that saves you a little bit of time the next time you're planning a PD. I want to make sure that we are being respectful of your time today. Does anyone want to highlight a particular resource that either is or is not on the Padlet? Oh, I see a question. Go ahead and unmute.
Hi. I
Hi.
just wanted to share because you were mentioning the Potty PD, so I did put a link for a few. It was from last year. It's from Canva. And I am not the person who created the template. It was shared with me when I became an ITF. And so I put their name underneath the little picture preview there. But Lori Hartley, I'm in WSFCS, and she shared the template with me when I became it. So I was able to take her template. But I was able to do one a quarter. She was awesome and did one a month. But I thought that might be something to share.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Very good. Okay, I am actually going to hop back over to the presentation now. I want to talk through a couple other things, and then if anyone has anything they would like to share or ask questions about, we will certainly take time to do that. So this is our last gathering in any way. So this is our last, we have finished up our in-person sessions that we had this year. We are still running the book study, so that is still available if you'd like to hop into that. But this is our last in the webinar series. And so Lauren and I are really starting to sit down together and also with leadership to really start dreaming about what support for coaching is going to look like next year. And we would really love your thoughts and ideas. We don't want this to be us sitting around being like, ooh, I think it would be great if we do this, or I think it would be great if we do this. We need to know what you want and what you truly need to support your work as a coach. So we would love it if you could take some time to really access this feedback survey. Quite a bit of it is multiple choice, so those won't take you too long to respond to. But there are some where we really want to hear what your ideas are. We want to know what topics you need. We want to know what formats work best for you. We want to know what time frames work best for you. And so that will help us as we're planning opportunities for you to know what those preferences are. So if you have time to offer us feedback, we would greatly appreciate that. There are a few opportunities that we wanted to let you know about. On the left-hand side of the screen, you will see the link to DPI's YouTube playlists. And within the YouTube playlist, you can see there is one for #NCCoach. So this is where you will find the 7 webinars that we have done this year. And so I wanted to point you in that direction. And then while you're there, you can kind of take a look and see what else is in there as well. So you can see there's resources in there from NC Rethink. There are resources in there to support digital accessibility, which is a part of much of the work that we do. So we really encourage you to go check out those resources at the NCDPI YouTube channels playlist. And then here is the book study that I was referring to. So we had been doing quite a bit of coaching work this year where we were using Arise as an anchor text where we refer to different sections in the book. And finally, folks were like, we just need to study this book. And so Lauren has done a fantastic job of setting up modules for the various chapters of the book. We're a little bit into the book by now, but we always invite people to hop in. So feel free to secure a copy of the book and then join us in thinking about the content of it and how you can use that content in your coaching. Lauren and I are always happy to entertain comments, questions, brainstorm with you, plan with you. So our contact information is here for you at the end of the slide. And so I'm just going to flip through in case you weren't with us earlier. We've got the feedback survey here. This is going to be your access to the Padlet. Thank you for putting that in the chat. And so this is the access to the Padlet, which has all of the resources that have been shared up to this point. And we hope you'll go ahead and add a few more resources in there for us as well. Those are the topics that are included on the Padlet. And we are just really glad that you have been here with us today and that you have been contributing things to this resource so that we really have a great place to go when we're looking for new ideas and when there's just that one thing that we need that we can't get our hands on. Or like poor Paige, she's been listening to all these educational podcasts that are not what she's looking for. And so now she's got a nod in the right direction. So I will stop talking now. Is there anyone that would like to highlight a resource? You can either do that in the chat, you can draw attention to it, or feel free to unmute.
I do have one more I'd like to share. I shared earlier about the Potty PD. I added under the, I think it's like the second to last column for the, the organizational tools.
There we go.
Microsoft Bookings. I've found that really useful. Instead of having to like type up days I'm available or share my calendar, which isn't always the most user-friendly in Outlook. I can just give a bookings link. So that link will show one that I have set up, and I think if you don't know about bookings, it can help out a lot if you have access to it.
Great idea. Thank you so much. Does anyone else use a resource similar to that, so that folks can book time with you?
Oh yes,
I
I love bookings. Teachers stop me in the hallway all the time. I need help with this. I need help with that. And I'm like, go to an email from me, click on the link where it says book my time, and it'll show you when I'm available. Book it, and we'll meet. Because otherwise, if you stop me in the hall, I'm gonna forget.
So true.
Yeah, and I use Calendly, which works very similarly.
Fantastic. Hey, anyone else want to share?
If you go over to, I think I put it in the curated resources for teachers. Down towards the bottom, obviously, the Chrome extensions. This was something I picked up from somebody at NC Ties, and I've shared it with a couple of people, and everybody's been like, wow, I found so many things on there. So it's just a ton of Chrome extensions. He has like 150 plus Chrome extensions.
Oh, wow.
What they do, the link to them, and then some of them even have not training, but almost kind of like a training on what to do with it, that he has added over in that last column. So I've had a couple that, and some of them, like Ed Puzzle and Pear Deck Power Up and things like that, but there was a bunch of new ones on there. And we were actually using one of the YouTube ones on our Chromebooks. We've pushed it out through Google Admin, and it blocks all of the extra stuff that YouTube shows that the kids don't necessarily need when they're going there for something for class. And so the kids were like, what is this? How do you get rid of this? Like, you can't. It's not just that kind of stuff. It's also good stuff for teachers. I found quite a few things on there that I've installed and have been using just to make my life easier.
That's fantastic. I'm a huge Eric Kurtz fan. He just compiles everything so nicely. So thank you for highlighting that one. Really, really useful. Oh, I was hoping we'd get some Stacy Lovedoll Wakelets in here. Stacy is the world's best wakelet generator. So I'm super glad that she's added some in there. All right. Well, I know your time is valuable, so I am actually going to stop recording. And I hope you will take this time and you will fill out our feedback survey.